Welcome, Japanese woodblock print collectors and enthusiasts. I'm going to come right out and say it. Women are fascinating. It's true today, and it was also true hundreds of years ago in Japan, when artists like Harunobu, Utamaro, Kunisada, Kunichika, Yoshitoshi, and others created series of prints themed around different types of women. Today we'll be exploring one of the most famous bijinga, or Beautiful Women print series, Yoshitoshi's Fu Zoku Sanju Niso, or 32 Aspects of Women. To begin, let's dissect the title, 32 Aspects of Women. What was special about the number 32? Japanese woodblock print publishers realized early on that it was good to produce a series of prints rather than individual one-off prints. A series of 12, 32, 36, or even 100 gives the artist the opportunity to create a variety of prints within a theme, and it gets the customers excited to collect the next one in the series. The other reason for the number 32 is that it represents the 32 signs of a great man. These are specific features that characterize a Buddha. For example, long legs with thighs like an antelope is one of Buddha's characteristics. So this 32 was a handy number that had some cultural significance. Let's touch on our artist, Tsukioka Yoshitoshi. Yoshitoshi has been called the last great creative genius of woodblock prints. He is best known for designs of Japan's legendary past, for violent and bloody prints, and for prints of beautiful women. So he has quite an artistic range. Yoshitoshi did have a lot of experience with women in that he was married a couple of times and frequented the courtesans and geisha in the red light district. If you want to learn more, please check out my video on Who Was Yoshitoshi. This series of 32 prints was published by Tsunashima Kamekichi in 1888. It depicts a chronological survey of women from different backgrounds from 1789 to 1912, starting with this print on the left titled Tiresome, the appearance of a virgin from the Kansei era, to the print on the right titled Strolling, the appearance of an upper-class wife of the Meiji era. These are not only beautiful women, but each represents a particular mood, a type, or a character trait. The prints depict the women as individuals rather than the traditional stylized images of women. And as we go through the prints, you'll see what I mean. Here's a print from the series called Relaxed, the appearance of a Kyoto geisha. Let's dissect it so you know what's what. First, you'll notice that the border of the print only appears at the top and the left side. This was intentional. They were all printed this way. There is a vertical brown cartouche in the upper right corner displaying the series title, and next to it a square box with the specific print design's title. And here I'll zoom in on it. Notice the wood grain design on the brown series title. Apparently it's not carved. It was made by soaking a block of wood to bring out the wood grain pattern, and then the wood was used as a printing block to give it a realistic effect. On the left side of the print, we can see Yoshitoshi's signature and his red seal below it. Next to it, a square box with publishing information and a smaller box under that containing the woodblock carver's name. This was a very popular series, so there were several editions made. An easy way to tell them apart is to look at the colored cartouche with the print title in it. The first edition will have 3 diagonal colors. The second edition contains 2 colors, while the third edition is a plain brown-gray color. Now, we're not going to see all 32 prints, but I'll show you 6 of my favorites, starting with this erotic-looking one called Painful, the appearance of a prostitute of the Kansei era. There's a lot to unpack here, But first let's admire Yoshitoshi's artistry and the skill of the block carver. All hail the carver for this series, Wada Hori Yu. And if we zoom in on the hair, you can see the detail in the hairstyle, the thin hairs around her face and even her eyelashes. Amazingly precise carving. And look at the gorgeous and complex kimono design and the design on the cloth. She's biting. In this print, she's probably biting the cloth to help manage the pain of the tattoo. But the image of a woman biting a cloth or tissue is also common in shunga, which are pornographic prints, where it indicates erotic passion. We think that she's getting her lover's name tattooed on her arm. As you can imagine, this is one of the more popular prints in the series. Next, let's have a look at this print called Smokey, the appearance of a housewife of the Kyowa era. You might think that the smoke is coming from her cooking, but it's actually from a plant that was burned to repel insects. This is really an exciting design, the way the smoke billows and curls in front of her. And look at the translucency as it wafts over her fan and yukata. A yukata is a casual, common cotton kimono you would probably wear at home. The yukata has a plain diamond flower pattern, but even though it's a simple repeating design, can you imagine carving it into a cherry woodblock? This next print is titled Heavy, the appearance of a Fukugawa waitress in the Tempo era. This waitress is probably working in the pleasure district. She's carrying a large heavy tray of food that includes sashimi, beans, and rice. She looks a bit stressed and frazzled. Her kimono is rumpled. And once again, look at the complex detail in the patterns and layers of her clothes. This sensual print is titled Ichi, the appearance of a kept woman of the Ka-e era. This woman is probably supported by some rich patron or benefactor. And we are seeing her first thing in the morning when she's coming out of the mosquito netting that covered her futon. Her hair is messy, the comb almost falling out, and she's pulling on her yukata. Notice how different the fabrics look. The stiff appearance of the netting versus the soft folds in her yukata. One other thing to note is that the skin of the women in this series were left unprinted, so we're just seeing the white of the paper. And Yoshitoshi did use some light pink around the eyes to make the complexion look more warm and realistic. Next, we have Hot, the appearance of a wealthy housewife from the Bunsei era. She's kneeling down and using a box for support while someone lights medicine called moxa on her back. This practice is similar to acupuncture, and like acupuncture, it hurts. In fact, this practice would often leave scars. That said, this is also considered a very erotic print due to the fact that she's gazing straight at us and her neck and back are exposed. It's really quite an amazing composition. This is such a fun design. It's called Delighted, the appearance of a geisha during the Meiji era. She's just caught a firefly by knocking it out of the air with her fan. She's holding the fan in her mouth and wondering what to do with her prisoner. Firefly parties, or hotarugari, were popular events in the summer. And we can see the wind is blowing both her hair and her thin summer kimono sleeves. The kimono is made of silk, and we can see her bare arm through the fabric. This can also be seen as a sensual image, since we can see the nape of her neck, and we can see her arm through the kimono, and she's holding something in her teeth. Side note, one of the Japanese verbs I wish we had in English is kueru, which literally means to hold something in your mouth. It seems like such a useful word. I was trying to limit myself to 6 prints, but this series has so many beautiful designs. Let's look at one more. This is, I think, my favorite print in the series. It's called Dark, the appearance of a wife during the Meiji era. The background of this print is more fully developed, and it really helps establish this common scene of a woman, a wife, lighting an oil lamp in the evening. It's an intimate, quiet design. This is the only print in the series that the woman's face is in profile. There's a warmth and softness, not only because of the lamp flame and her expression, but also the color palette of the yukata that's falling off her shoulder, and the organic colors of the table and box. I'm trying to keep my videos to a manageable length, so you'll have to peruse the other print designs on your own. I really recommend this book by John Stevenson called Yoshitoshi's Women. It describes all the prints in the series and is well worth the price. Yoshitoshi produced this series at the pinnacle of his artistic career. And although he approached the series from a male perspective, I think he also approached it with realism and sensitivity. Which print is your favorite and why? Please leave your comments below. Like and subscribe, and as always, happy collecting.